Alrighty then. So I got this in the other day. 20 fucking bucks. Not a huge fan of effects pedals. This is not an effects pedal. We used to use them back in the day, you know, with the bands we played, metal and some hardcore shit, you know. Kind of needed some distortion, things like that. But once I got into tube amps, I love the, you know, the natural ambiance of it, you know, the atmosphere that the pick dynamics, you know, depending on how hard you strum or pick, it brings out some distortion naturally through the tubes. And I like that. I think it sounds good. I used to own a flange pedal, you know, a pedal board, whatever the fuck they call it, back in the day. But I'm not really into that shit anymore. At least not for now. Maybe later. Moser. But I remember in 2010, I believe it was 2010, Neil Young, who I'm not a fan of, you can knock me all you want, but I really don't care for his music. But he put out an album that I bought, and I thought it was really cool, you know, when I looked into it. And what he did, it was just him in a house, you know, with 2 amps plugged into his guitar. And he had a clean one, and he had a dirty one. That sounded amazing. And so, you know, I have my tube amp, and it sounds great. It doesn't get really distorted too much, even when you're, you know, hitting the strings, you know, pretty hard. I'm probably going to replace those tubes, like I've said before, maybe with some Mesa Boogies. But just give it that bassier, deeper tone and bring out some distortion with pick dynamics or whatever. But I thought about that album, and I was like, you know what? I was like, there's got to be a pedal, you know. I mean, obviously. I've never heard of him, seen anybody use one besides him. I'm assuming, you know, whatever. So this is an ABY box line selector. It was like 20 bucks. Less than that. And so I bought one. And when I started using it, I almost came on myself. Because this motherfucker is fucking dope. So we're going to finally warm up these tubes. That's about there. Alright, 1 watt. Alright, so my tube amps on 1 watt, not 5 watts. Oh shit! No, don't die, Lane. Don't die. Stay, girl. Stay. Don't move. Don't move, Lane. Okay. All right. So, actually, no. Whoopsie. All right, there we go. All right, so this one's gonna go out to the actual guitar. These are going to go to the amps. I have a couple of these. I'll plug these bitches in after I fucking unknot these motherfuckers. But anyway, we're getting there. We're getting there. Promise. We're really doing a red band. Alright. Tangle all this shit. Straighten this bitch out. Alright. So. This one. Oh shit, don't fall. Jesus Christ, I'm clumsy as shit today. Stop falling. We'll have to wait, keyboard. Alright. So this one, I'm gonna go ahead and plug into come on, chords. We can do this. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and plug into the tube amp. And this one is going to go into that cheap little amp that came with my guitar, but it has good distortion. It's not a tube amp, that one. It's what I call a static amp. I know that's not the right word for it, but that's fine. Okay, so this is going to be channel B on this little bitch. Alright, turn this motherfucker on. You can hear the feedback. Alright, so Alrighty, Wayne. Let's do this. Or attempt to do this. Okie dokie. Come on, chords. So, there's a little, probably can't see it, but there's a little switch right here. So if you slide up, it goes from one amp to the other, depending on, you know, when you hit the button. So, right now, I'm not gonna, I'll kind of show you. So right now, it's on both amps. But, when you slide it down the other way, and you hit the button, it goes one or the other. So right now that's on the tube amp. And then if I hit the button, goes to the distorted amp. Hit it back, and it plays both, which I think sounds dope. Yeah, I think I just came with myself. That shit sounds fucking awesome. Okay. So I'm gonna tell another story. So I'm making my own sea of names. I've told this story before, but I'm gonna tell it again. Tool got signed pretty early, and their first bass player left after their second album. And so they got a new bass player in. He played in a band called Peach. They did a tour in England. They were the opening band. And Justin Chancellor is one of the best most original bass players, I should say, of all times, in my opinion. And, but when he did the third album, which me and my friend call Enema, I know that's not the proper way of saying it. It's actually two words put together. They had to go to court to fight, the record label and shit like that. Man, it got kind of tired of it. He's like, man, fuck this shit, He's like, and they all thought that, the band was over. They thought Maynard was going to leave. And you can't replace Maynard. You can't. It never happened. But the guitar tech, Billy Howardell, Maynard heard him, listen to some of his music. And, Billy Howardell's music. And Maynard's like, he's like, what's this? He's like, oh, this is my stuff. And Billy Howardell wrote all the songs on that first album. And Maynard was like, hey, can I, do some, can I sing for you or whatever? And he didn't write all the lyrics, but he wrote all the music, Billy Howardell. And he said, yeah, can I sing with you? And fucking who's going to say no? He's like, Maynard James Keenan wants to sing on my fucking shit. He's like, fucking right, I do. And so he recorded the first album, Are They Gnomes, which in Greek means sea of names. And they did it, record all of it in Billy Howardell's living room. It was a great album. One of my favorites. Came out in about, I think, 1999. And I bought it, cassette, back in the day. And my brother Joey also bought it for me. He didn't know I owned it, like as a present, which was nice for my birthday. And so I'm writing my own sea of names. And so first song I'm gonna write using this little pedal right here is gonna be about my girlfriend. I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it, but I'll figure something out. Later, bitches.